Hello and welcome to another episode of the Action Trippin' Ballscast. This is Action Trippin' Ballscast number 7, and Vader himself is tripping balls today because he's got the Star Wars hype.
And
He
in
has it.
Star Wars, nothing but Star Wars. I'm sorry. I mean, it's beyond my control, as they say. I am hyped about a movie that's, what is it, like now 2 months away. I'm not sure if I should be, but after the trailer, yeah, I was pretty excited.
You already have your tickets?
Yes, and they were pretty damn hard to obtain.
Yes.
Sorry about the biscuit.
No, it's been that way over here too. People have had a lot of problems getting their tickets, or they had to wait and maybe they had to get like the day after or something. But I'm not going to be able to go see it. I don't know when I'll be able to see it, but
yeah. Well, honestly, I wouldn't mind. And normally I don't like join the first wave of viewers, like the first like hardcore fans. I just don't do that. But this time I'm just like so excited about it. I just couldn't wait. But for some reason I didn't expect people here, this side of the world, to be that excited about it. But when I heard that the first tickets were sold in under 2 hours for 4 movie theaters, I was pretty much convinced that I'm not the only one who likes Star Wars. I mean, over here, I'm expecting to see that kind of commitment, stateside, definitely.
Yeah, a friend of mine told me today that she and her husband were waiting 4 hours for a queue to get into this one theater for her family, and then it crashed and it was down till midnight, and so she went to bed. So this morning she woke up and it was back up and running, so she had to get tickets for the next day. She's kind of bummed about it, but oh well, you have to wait a whole day. It's gonna be okay.
Well, I mean, it's what I wanted to avoid this time is people talking about it, because people talk about it a lot. So I want it to be, just like, I don't want anybody spoiling the movie for me.
Well, and I don't either, but this is where I'm going to tap into my mutant power hardcore, because I don't know if you know this about me, but I have a mutant ability, and that is I am able to avoid spoilers. And sometimes I do it on purpose, and most time it's by accident. My prime example of this was I did not play the first BioShock game for 4 years after the game released, and I had nothing spoiled because I'm able to just tune out any spoilers.
It's difficult for us because we're in that kind of circle where we're like surrounded by people who follow the same things. I mean, movies, video games, and stuff.
Well, exactly, which is why I've dubbed it my mutant power. Because apparently in a podcast, my friend Blake, every single time we brought up BioShock, he said every single time, "Would you kindly?" And I never caught on to that, never thought anything of it. But that's actually a phrase that we use in the South a lot, so I honestly didn't think anything of it. So in the game, I didn't think anything of it until, you see it written in blood, and I was like, oh, holy shit. But even then, when Blake told me, he's like, did you know I've been saying that for over a year? I'm like, no. Because I am able to I have this ability, I can just glaze right over stuff.
Right. So it could be luck then, just basic blind luck. It doesn't have to be a mutant ability.
Nah, it's my mutant power. It's not a useful one to get into the X-Men, but it's my mutant power.
Oh, it's not good enough to get you into Professor Xavier's school?
No, I don't think so.
He's probably scanning the world right now and sees Carrie okay, I can see some sort of benefit here, but not to mankind as a whole.
Yes, I can't really save the world with my ability to avoid spoilers.
Right. If somehow we could harness that power and everybody could avoid spoilers, it would be a happier world.
I mean, I'm playing Halo 5 right now, and I see who's on Fireteam Osiris. So I was like, oh my God, I didn't know she was on there. Like I just read about her in a book before she became a Spartan and blah, blah, blah. So I was telling this to a friend. He goes, yeah, that was announced like 6 months ago. Like, yeah, I have the ability to ignore all that. So then,
Right.
which I think is kind of cool, because then when I see something, it's still a surprise to me, no matter how late I am to the party. And that's one thing I do have a complaint about, I think, with this industry and just geek culture or just pop culture in general. I think we have too much hype and too much is revealed. So there's not those surprises. I understand why they do it, because if they don't have that marketing machine running, then people don't know about it. And then people complain they didn't know about it. That's why they didn't spend their money on it, blah, 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 blah. But I almost feel like there's so much. Like,
yeah, it is at times completely overwhelming, but for me, what you just said, like one of the worst examples, was seeing like our former editor-in-chief, like Uroš Jojic, who was he's like now this like huge Game of Thrones fan, so he keeps visiting this forum or news portal where all the latest like information is just being spilled, and rumors and theories, but actually pretty good theories from what I've heard. I don't read it myself because I'm still reading the books, and I like want to know. I want to find out certain stuff by myself. But so this forum, they're talking about stuff basically that's currently being filmed. So there are people like spying on the film set and posting shit there. And then people like construct theories. I'm just like, why are you even following this group? So I'm pretty much certain that in like for Star Wars and for video games, there's similar stuff going on. So
totally.
So I actually now that I think about it, I'm pretty convinced it is a superpower, because it seems like almost impossible to avoid all the stuff people post online. And if you're on Facebook or Twitter, that's it. I mean,
Unfortunately, yeah, I'll probably avoid Facebook and Twitter entirely December 17th, 18th, and 19th, because people unfortunately can't keep their goddamn mouths shut.
Right, exactly. So again, that's why I'm keen to see this movie, like be one of the first here, so at least I won't be, seeing a lot of like, I mean, I don't know if anybody would intentionally spoil it for me out of the people I know, but then again, they might know some people who will, so, but that was like the main thing for me today. I started my day by loading up the trailer. I was writing my review for Uncharted, like Nathan Drake collection, and I just stopped and I wanted to look at this thing. And it's just like it rekindles some of the old emotions I cannot explain, because the kind of thing I felt while watching the old movies, because I'm not that into the prequels. I mean, I think we agreed earlier when we were talking about it that we both like they were fun, right? The prequels. I mean,
yeah, I don't have the blind hatred so many people.
Right. I can understand the hatred, I guess, but I
feel like it's a wasted emotion.
Well, sure. I mean, when you think about it, I mean, for me, it was like, hey, it has lightsabers and John Williams music. I'm in, So there are pretty corny things in it.
But man, seriously, you watch the original 3, they're pretty corny things in there too. And I'm talking before George Lucas decided to edit them further. There is some corny stuff in there.
Well, yeah, of course, because they're based on pretty old like myths and legends and pretty corny stuff to be I mean, that's just the way it is. I mean, like even when George Lucas was first talking about it, like when they were doing the movie, he wanted to make like a Flash Gordon kind of movie or something. That was his idea, Flash Gordon. Come on.
I think George Lucas is very punchy driven, so he likes little punchlines, and that's why I see like every time I rewatch Star Wars, I'm like, yeah, that is pretty corny, but that's so George Lucas. And And that's part of why I didn't understand why everyone hated the new Indiana Jones either. I'm like, okay, the first three are just as corny and have just as many implausible things. I mean, if you want to hate the alien, I get that. I get that. That was kind of
Alien, yeah, that was too much, man.
Yeah, that was kind of weird because that does kind of go out of where Indiana Jones normally is. But if you want to pick apart the refrigerator,
I don't know. Okay.
So you want to pick that apart? Okay, what about him jumping out of a plane with a fucking life raft? That is just as impossible.
Yes. Okay. Everything was ridiculous in Indiana Jones, except in 4, it somehow lost its charm. I don't know why. Maybe because it was done. Maybe because the story was somehow. Every story is ridiculous in Indiana Jones. Something was different in the 4th one. I cannot place it. I was like bewildered, for instance, when they were talking about they like grab him or something, and it seems like he's under arrest and he's like survived the explosion thing, and then they're like Colonel Jones, and I was like, whoa, wait a minute, he's a teacher in archaeology. What colonel? He's a colonel now?
Well,
so I don't know the lore. Okay.
They talked about how this had been like 20 years later, and so he talked about how he served in World War II because he most likely
was that in the beginning of the movie.
Yes.
Oh my god, I saw it only once. You see, I forgot those things.
Well, see, I only saw it once too, but I remember because when they first called him, I was like, "Well, that's weird." And then they were talking to him about his service in World War II, and he talked about some of the research he had in World War II, which is how he knew about the crystal skull that was in the storage building because of his research during World War II.
Oh, okay. I missed that bit, I guess.
Yeah, it was very fast.
Right. Still, we're drifting slightly from the point, which I think
is that they're all ridiculous. And don't get your hopes up because it's going to be corny and ridiculous.
Well, I don't know who was commenting about this, that it's going to be... Oh, yeah, one of my friends on Facebook said, oh, I just hope that it's not too, like, sad and sappy because there's kind of a theme to the trailer where it looks kind of a bit dark, okay? And I was like, well, you can expect it to be dark and gloomy because it was written by the same guy who wrote Empire Strikes Back. But I think come on, I'm definitely not the only one thinking that it's a good thing because, okay, that guy, he knows drama, he knows characters, obviously, and that's the most important. That's what makes a good, like, epic, really good epic movie. And that's all Star Wars needs, really. Good characters. So far, the cast looks right on the money. A lot of new faces. Some of the old familiar ones. So I don't know. All the elements are there. Yeah, I guess I'm getting too excited now. Shit. Shit. It's something is gonna happen. I guess it's gonna. Hey, if I had fun with the prequels.
If you had fun with the prequels, you're going to enjoy this.
Right.
I have friends who hated the prequels. Like they said that they don't exist. Like, well, then you're going to be disappointed with these because they're never going to live up to the hype that you've built up in your mind from nostalgia for these movies that were made in the 70s and early 80s. Sorry.
Yeah, but there was a pretty important aspect to the old movies, which is lacking in the new ones. And that's it, that in the new ones, George Lucas went insane with CGI. He just everything was CGI. And Industrial Light and Magic, like where their talent shines is all the like little models, tiny ships that they made like by hand. So that's different, man. When you make something in 3D and it's computer generated, you can make it perfect, but it just doesn't seem that organic to me. And I think that now that's why all these people are enjoying games like Star Wars Battlefront, because we all have that lore back, all those ships, all those weapons, and it feels cool, those things seemed real. That's the ridiculous part of the old trilogy. They still seem real. I don't know how it's possible, but that was the obvious talent of ILM. That's what they could make. So all of that was also kind of missing in the prequels. Regardless of whatever you want to call the stories, were they good or bad acting or bad writing, that I'm just not talking about that. I'm just talking about, Star Wars stuff. Come on, I mean, they made such a big deal out of all those the universe games based on just one ship. You have to admire that. I mean, come on.
That's valid. I never thought about it that way, but dang, you're right.
It's very
totally
important.
Right.
It's very important. It's not. Yes, I agree with you that it is a certain kind of nostalgia, because especially for like people who are a bit older and were raised at the time, and that they were there when it was all happening. It was such a big deal because it was so revolutionary for cinema and science fiction, fantasy stuff. But there's more to it than that. Like I remember this interview with a whole bunch of directors. I think it was Cameron, Ridley Scott. They were all talking about Lucas, and I was like, when the first time they saw it, it was like, man, how I should really roll up my sleeves. This guy did it. They were like blown away by it. I mean, they even admitted that they were heavily influenced in terms of special effects and stuff like that. So
well,
it was groundbreaking. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, there's a story my dad always tells about Star Wars special effects. So the 2 weeks before I was born, my parents went to the movie every day because they knew what I was.
They were fans. I mean, they were fans.
Yes. Oh, yes. My dad's a huge Star Wars fan.
Oh man, that's awesome.
so they went to the movies every day before I was born, because they knew that when I was born, they weren't going to go to the movies again.
Oh, right. You were born the same year when New Hope was released.
Yes, I was born in 1977.
Sorry for pointing that out. But
No, it's okay. I mean, my age is out there. But anyway, so they went and saw Space Odyssey 2001, which was also very groundbreaking.
Yes, it was.
For sci-fi, for special effects, and for the original "What the fuck is going on" movie. I remember when I first saw it, I read the book hoping the book would explain more, and the answer is no. But anyway, so they went and saw it. Mm-hmm. My dad was reading in the paper that because Star Wars was not out yet, and it said that Space Odyssey 2001 had 35 special effects. Star Wars had 365. So he was like, we are going to this. And so they went, my mom very pregnant with me, they went and saw it. I was born 2 days later. So my story always is, I knew I wanted to come out when I heard the Star Wars through the belly.
Yeah, you were like,
wait, I'm not seeing what I'm hearing. I must see it.
Yes, you pressed your ear to your mom's stomach. What is this? It sounds so cool.
So my dad still has this huge, deep nostalgia with Star Wars, and so I went and took him to the prequels. Like he and I went together to see the prequels, and I have great memories with him. I remember seeing, I think it was the third movie. Mm-hmm. No, it was the second movie, and it was when Obi-Wan was spying on Jango Fett. Was that
okay?
That is the second.
It is. It's Attack of the Clones.
Yes, and so he, when he was at, I remember the name of the planet, but he was there, and and they told him to go detain him. So he goes and charges after him, and it's where Jango basically throws him over the edge, and he's like flailing. And Dad turned to me. He goes, "He needs to get some Jedi shit." Oh, there it is.
Nice. But that's actually a pretty good. That's one of the best fights in the new trilogy.
Oh, I totally agree.
That's a kick-ass fight.
That fight and the lightsaber battle with Darth Maul.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that was like choreographed to perfection as well. Like,
well, yes, because you know who choreographed it, right?
Oh yeah,
Ray Park.
Ray Park, right? Yes. And there's one other guy. Well, Ray Park was the stunt man and the coordinator, but there's this one English guy who does this with him. He's also like I just like saw. Man, I shouldn't know so much stuff. He talked about how he first presented an idea for this final battle in The Phantom Menace to George Lucas, and he he said like George Lucas was like, no, we should like tone it down. So the way he imagined it was like 10 times wilder than that, in the sense that it would have been more, even faster, more complex. I don't know. So I had no idea what George Lucas did to like tone it down. But yeah, but I was excited about it when watching it. I mean, it looked awesome to me.
That's actually my favorite lightsaber battle.
That one in Phantom Menace?
Mm-hmm.
It's debatable.
So what's yours?
Well, I have to say, looking back on like all 6 movies, it would have to be the one. Okay, I don't know if I can like isolate one. For me, it's just like the. I liked a few. It's useless. I cannot form an opinion on this. Okay. Let's just put it like this. In the old trilogy, it was Return of the Jedi, where the final confrontation happens between Luke and Vader.
Oh, see, I think that whole thing with Luke and Vader, the Emperor, is like the most boring part of the whole movie.
Well, I enjoyed it especially because you can see like how Darth Vader brings all this anger in him, and there's absolutely no dispute that the Empire Strikes Back is like the best in every aspect. Even the lightsaber, the battle between them is awesome. But for me, like in Return of the Jedi, is like it's I don't know. It was everything it's supposed to be. Like you can. It's not even choreographed in the end. You can just see Luke waving his lightsaber insanely because he's mad. There's no like super choreography going on, so it's pure anger. And Vader's like, "Whoa, I should take it easy." Like I didn't mean that, and that was kind of cool. But there's something about like the new trilogy. I could hear when I was watching it the first time in the movie theater, people, like going, "Oh my God, Yoda is like jumping all over the place and wielding a lightsaber." That was actually hugely fun for me. I enjoyed that.
Love that.
Yeah, I was like, "Oh yeah, go Yoda!" You finally.
And all my friends were like, "That was so laughable. That was ridiculous." I'm like, "No, that was badass."
Yeah, I was like, "This is awesome, man." What can I say? Maybe it's the gamer spirit in me, but that was awesome seeing like Yoda kick ass, and I even I enjoyed when he confronted like Dooku and said, "So whatever you say, man, I can still see you. You have like much to learn," or something like that, and that was kind of cool to me. And eventually, the fight between him and the Palpatine, or what's his name in
Palpatine.
No, but he has it's Darth Sidious or so.
Darth Sidious, yes.
Okay, so the whole like where you can see like good and evil, and the camera unzooms and it shows like the whole empty Senate room or whatever it is, and they're just like rising, and you can hear the soundtrack, the Duel of Fates or whatever the theme was. So every lightsaber battle is different, so I'm not necessarily knowing what qualifies as the best. I mean, if you're looking for a super choreographed battle, I think the Phantom Menace is the best because there's like 3 of them, and there's a double-bladed lightsaber.
That's what I like about it is the 3 of them, and it's one of the first times I think that you see Ray Park really let loose. Because I really liked him in the first X-Men movie, because he did the part of Toad because he is that flexible and is able to do all this stuff, but he wasn't able to really let loose and fight. And this is one you can almost see how much fun he is having when he does like the little spin flips and things like that. That he's just kind of going to town, and that I love Liam Neeson and I love Ewan McGregor, and so seeing them choreograph how they're doing it. And actually what really got it for me was right before Liam Neeson was killed. Sorry, spoilers. I'm going to spoil like a 15-year-old movie.
Yeah.
But anyway.
It's okay.
Where the light doors shut. So you have Ewan McGregor or Obi-Wan in the far back, and you have Qui-Gon stuck in the middle, and then you have Darth Maul on the outside. And so you have Obi-Wan who's sitting there pacing. He's ready to go. And then you have Qui-Gon who just meditates.
Yeah, that was the cool part.
And Darth Maul, who's just like a tiger, just kind of pacing and growling. Just, it just, to me, like that moment, I was like, 20 seconds showed their personalities and fighting style.
Right. It is a good example of a like supremely well directed and choreographed battle. And I would have loved to have seen the first version they imagined. Ray Park and this guy. What was his name? Never mind.
So I never knew there was another version, so I would have liked to see that too.
No. Initially,
yeah,
they just presented, okay, this is
right.
What do you think? And he was like, probably, yeah, we could make just this thing, whatever he does there, because nobody can. I heard this thing about him that nobody has the courage to like confront him creatively, and that was like a huge problem during the production of those like new movies. What was the producer's name? Rick McCallum was like when he first saw the movie. He was like, okay, the Phantom Menace, yes, but you could actually hear George Lucas when he saw the final cut of the first cut of the movie, that he himself was like convinced, okay, maybe we should have done that differently or something. We needed to work, but there's just no time anymore. It's just like it became later on, it became a known fact that it was kind of just not in the story area. It wasn't reworked or tweaked or whatever they're doing. It wasn't that so
yeah, and it is definitely the weakest of the six, of the George Lucas six.
Yes,
I like it for the pod racing lightsaber battle, so I'll just skip most of it. Pod racing, but I got turned down on mute because I can't stand the kid who plays Anakin Skywalker or any of his lines.
Yeah, he's a cute little guy. That's all. I think it was the main reason why he was put there.
He's a cute kid, but he was a bad actor, and he had bad lines, and he did not deliver any of them well.
Yeah, and the same thing can be said for Hayden in the Attack of the Clones.
Hayden Christensen.
Yeah, it's just something. It's like if he could have chosen
he had bad lines too.
Yeah, so bad lines and. So not delivering on bad lines.
I don't like sand. It's coarse. I like things that are soft.
Jesus, that what is that?
That was the worst line ever.
Yeah, that's Spanish soap opera territory, man.
That and from 3. I was like, you're so beautiful only because I'm so in love with you. No, you're beautiful because of my love for you. I'm like,
right, yeah, and the scene where they roll around in the grass, and I was like, this guy who famously did a video review of the new trilogy, like completely trashing it and making like all these valid arguments, and he was talking over that scene, and he's talking in this low voice, and what is Anakin doing? I mean, isn't he aware that Amidala is in danger? What if like there are at least 100 positions for like snipers that can take them both out at any second? What are they doing? And he's supposed to be protecting her, right?
This was totally a thing. George Lucas knew that they had to get together, and they didn't know how to make. I don't know. Take what they did in Empire, because that's the love. That was a well-written love story, how they ended up coming together.
Yes.
And that's what I think it's what they tried to do, but with bad lines.
I don't know what they tried to do. I think there was a general lack of chemistry maybe it was between the actors. Maybe it was when they saw the writing or something. Han and Leia had chemistry.
Yeah.
So whether
you look the exact same to me. You look exactly the same as you did in my dreams. Yeah, that's not creepy, freak.
Oh my god, yeah, that's a line, right? Oh my god.
Plus, like, every time I watch those movies, I try to do a timeline thing of how old Anakin is and how much time has passed. So to make it not creepy for me, I have to say that at least 10 years passed between the first one and the second one. So that would make Anakin like 8 at the youngest in the Phantom Menace, and then 18 in the next one, because otherwise I think it's just too creepy. So she's 18 or 16, and then goes to 26 or 28, that's still way too robbing the cradle.
It was there were a lot of inconsistencies between the two trilogies, but I think like eventually most people agreed that it would have been a far better idea that we just weren't given the story of Anakin growing up, even though George Lucas like presented it as, okay, you have to see him losing his mom or whatever, that like tips him over the edge. Or better yet, when like he thought Padme was, or Amidala was like siding with Obi-Wan or whatever, so stuff like that. But to a lot of people it was like, well, you should have started at the third movie, because we wanted to see the relationship between Anakin and Obi-Wan. That would have been an interesting. We wanted to see their friendship grow, and what made Obi-Wan so like convinced in the classic trilogy that there's no hope for Anakin. He's just lost, because you know Alec Guinness, like that version of Obi-Wan, was talking about, you know, he was a good friend, and you could see it in his eyes, like he was a true friend. And then you can see him just like at some point giving up on him. You know, there's no turning back. So we wanted to see that. We did kind of see it, but we didn't see the friendship bit. We just like saw bits and pieces of it, and all the stuff that happened before essentially wasn't that important. Who wants to see, you know, a small Anakin doing pod races? You know.
Yeah, because they weren't even friends in that first movie. Like Obi-Wan was kind of put out by him. And
yes,
I think Obi-Wan saw Anakin as the reason why Qui-Gon was kind of rejected by the Jedi Council. And I think he, you know, kind of had this little bit of resentment. And now he has to take care of this kid. If you want to see their relationship, you unfortunately have to watch, you know, Star Wars: The Clone Wars, or well, either cartoon, the one that Jim D. Tartakovsky made, or the one that George Lucas made later. But you're absolutely right. That should have been more focused on their friendship, because you never really got that they were close. You got that there was like this brotherly thing. But like in the second one, I felt like Obi-Wan was more his dad, because he kept, you know, punishing him and yelling at him all the time and overcorrecting him. And
right. Just go over there and stand there. And what are you going to do? I'm going to get a drink. Something
right.
like that. Yeah. So, but it was, that was missing for me. I wanted to see that relationship develop. So there are a lot of points in the movie where all the stupid action is going on, and it could have been sacrificed for more story. I mean, that's the first, you know, the first like first argument people give when they say, like, you know, that's the prequels for you.
Yeah, I mean, because Anakin, and all he ever did about Obi-Wan was bitch about him. Constantly complained about him to Amidala, always said he's holding him back, won't let him do anything.
He's whiny. Darth Vader
he is whiny.
Comes across like a whiny person.
Okay, but as a friend pointed out, and this is so valid, Luke was whiny.
I don't know.
You watch A New Hope, he is so whiny.
Well, yeah, but he's still like very young.
Okay, well, I've read the Star Wars books, and according to the books, in A New Hope, he was 21, which is technically older than Anakin might have been in Attack of the Clones. And Luke is still a whiny little bitch. I mean, he's like, I was hoping to go to Tashi's, get some power converters. I'll never get to leave. Well, I mean, it was he whined a lot.
But you know, I still have to defend him. Because for me, he was the like, that was it for me. I was always like pretending to be Luke Skywalker. I could never pretend to be Han Solo, because that's not the kind of guy I am. You know, I was swashbuckler. So
all I'm saying is that it's not surprising that Anakin was whiny. I mean, Luke was whiny. There's the genes. They're right there.
He was made to be whiny in A New Hope. When you could see him like grow in the second movie. So he's already a badass in that one. And then in the Return of the Jedi, he's like completely, you know, focused and more calm and resolved and stuff. So,
well, yeah, because he's actually, become one with the Force. And, to me, what was always interesting as a child was watching the evolution of what Luke used to fight. Because in the first movie, it's blaster all the way. And the second movie, it's a combination of blaster and lightsaber. In the third movie, it is just lightsaber.
Right. And that's it. That's the Jedi, fully developed. Even though, Yoda says you're not.
One of my favorite lines in episode 3 when Obi-Wan kills Grievous because he uses a blaster and he throws, he goes, "So uncivilized." One of my favorite lines in that whole movie.
Yeah, Grievous was, that was also going over the top. Again, another fun thing, but going over the top. Let's put a robot with 16 trillion lightsabers on him.
Yeah, why not?
So which made me really happy when Obi-Wan killed him. I was like, you know what? You can wield a ton of lightsabers. You're still not going to be better than Obi-Wan.
Because Obi-Wan's a badass.
Precisely. I really like. I think Ewan was a great choice.
Yes, he was.
But again, what can you do if the writing is crap? So.
Okay, but I still think that he and Liam Neeson both performed their lines better than Anakin Kid.
Anakin Kid and Hayden guy.
Yes, they both. Yes, and even Natalie Portman performed her lines better.
Oh my god, yes, she I've never seen a movie destroy a talented actress so quickly by giving her it was obviously non-negotiable. You're gonna speak like a British person because we want you to, and she couldn't pull it off. That's the problem with her character. One of the first problems. She also doesn't seem to have the kind of leadership thing that Carrie Fisher had. She just can't pull that off either. Because when Carrie Fisher talks to the troops, sorry, Leah, let's stay in the fantasy. That I was like, okay. She has that authority. I didn't see that in Natalie Portman.
But I think the difference there is that with Natalie Portman, so Amidala was a politician. She was never a fighter. She was never a leader of a rebellion. She was always, she was the ruler of her country who ended up having to fight in order to get her country or her planet back. And then she became a senator. She was never this rebel leader. Now, Leia was also a senator, but she was using that as a cover because she joined the rebellion. So she did have to fight. And actually, and one thing, I know I'm about to nerd out, in the books, she talks about how her father, Senator Organa, put her in all this training.
Yeah.
Because he was most likely he was a big part of the rebellion. I don't know that for a fact. I haven't read that far in the history, but it wouldn't surprise me if he was one of the people that started it. So she was always groomed into that role, whereas Amidala was not.
Okay, so I can see that there's a consistency there with the characters, but I'm just talking, okay, if she had the instructions not to be a kind of a leader type, and so I would understand it, but there are a lot of scenes where she has to give orders, and when she has to talk down to troops, or let's do this, let's do that, do this, it doesn't work. It just doesn't. Somehow,
and I think that's because that's just not part of her character to do that. Because she's a politician first, had to pull a gun second, so she always had to rely on her generals or her bodyguards.
Oh, you think she's more like Princess Jasmine, always used to being locked up in a palace and not used to barking orders at troops?
In a sense, yeah.
Okay, I guess that's consistent. Yeah, that makes sense. You seem to be passionately defending her for some reason.
No, I'm just actually, Amidala is nowhere close to being one of my favorite characters. Nowhere close. But basically, I like to look at a character's background history as to why they act a certain way. And with, I guess, with her, I understand it because she was this politician, she was this, versus Anakin, who I felt like was just whiny for no reason.
Well, okay, so what I keep liking about the new movie we're about to see is that they're obviously keeping like the main thing about the story. It's locked up so tight. We still have absolutely no idea what this is about. Okay, so we know Mark Hamill is in there, and a lot of other actors that were revealed, like publicly, the cast, but we haven't seen him yet. We just heard like his voice in the first trailer to say stuff. We haven't seen him. We don't know what his role is, and we've only seen like hints of the evil. We've seen the evil dude a lot, Kylo Ren, whatever, and we still don't know how he becomes this evil guy. I mean, is he somehow involved with Darth Vader? The stupidest theory I've heard on the internet so far is that the guy behind the new mask, speaking in the new trailer, is Darth Vader himself. He's come back from the dead. I was like, okay.
I've heard that's Darth Maul.
Even though he's been sawn in half by a lightsaber.
Oh, sweetie, you have not watched the Clone Wars. He comes back in the Clone Wars cartoon.
Is there ever a rational explanation for that, or
there
is it just the midichlorians have somehow
there
connected
is
together?
I don't know what it is, but I remember watching one of the later seasons and seeing him there, and I was like, okay, fuck this, I'm out. I don't care what explanation they have, and everyone swears it's a really good explanation. I don't care.
It was his twin brother. What else?
Oh, Jesus.
Okay, I'm just thinking
that could be it, and
If I can come up with that kind of like idea, I'm sure I qualify for a writer. I mean,
oh,
I honestly like. Part of me just doesn't want to care anymore, and I just like want to have fun and stuff. But like seeing how much this like trailer has connected with me, or how I've connected to everything in it. The tone, the music stuff, and characters that it's kind of pissing me off that people keep pointing out how it's politically correct again, how it's hopping on the bandwagon of political correctness. I mean, like white chick, black dude, we have all races there. Who the hell cares, man? Okay, I see, valid point, but I don't care about that stuff. As like Boyega, the actor, pointed out, I'm black, get over it. Everybody just, what's the point of that argument? So there's like a ton of crap right now surrounding like the whole movie. So yeah, I guess it's probably the best idea to just, block all that stuff out before the movie hits theaters.
Okay, I found the Wikipedia that explains how he's still alive. Are you ready for this?
Who?
Darth Maul.
Oh, you mean the Disney version, the cartoon version?
Yeah. Are you ready?
Oh, hit me.
Through his intense rage, Maul was able to survive and escape to the junk fields Lotho Minor, where he spent the next 12 years of his life with little to no memory of his former self. Maul kept himself mobile by manifesting a spider-like lower half, feeding off of rodents while his mental equilibrium slowly became undone. Although Darth Sidious and the Jedi Order were unaware of Maul's continued existence, the Night Sister Mother Talzin continued to keep an eye on Maul. 3 years into the Clone Wars, Talzin sent Maul's brother, Savage Opress, the ousted apprentice of Maul's Sith successor, on a quest to find the fractured man who dwelled in the depths of Lotho Minor. Savage successfully brought his brother back to Dathomir to undergo physical and mental reconstitution by Talzin's dark magic. Rehabilitated mentally and physically through prosthetic legs, Maul swore to reestablish his place in the galactic history, starting with taking vengeance on Kenobi. I'm not going to read anymore. I can't.
Okay, if that's actually a valid explanation, I can see why they didn't put it in the cartoon. For one thing, it's I think it doesn't get more ridiculous than that, does it? What he used his liver as a pillow, and he slept all those years on his intestines and stuff, and it's just beyond ridiculous.
Yep, this has been backed up by the Star Wars Clone Wars movie and the cartoon series.
Well, thankfully, those people weren't given the opportunity to write the screenplay for the next movie.
Yeah, but that is one series that has not been retconned. So because that was George Lucas,
Yeah.
Blessed. So that's canon. Darth Maul's alive and well.
Yeah, but canon clearly, okay, if it is, I'm pretty sure it's not going to wind up in the movies. I don't know. I don't think so.
Well, we'll see. We shall see. We got, 2 more months? 2 months.
Yeah, a little less than 2 months and counting. So it's going to be insane. Shall we try and spontaneously switch to gaming? Or should we just officially declare this as an Star Wars only vidcast?
Well, I think we covered that topic pretty well. Quite honestly, we really don't have a big disappointment of the week, or you and I have been so busy we haven't really played any indies to highlight them for this week.
No, that's true. I mean,
so do you want to just talk about briefly what we've been playing, and then or wrap it up and have the force be with everybody?
Okay, so for me it was Skyshine Bedlam, Uncharted, Nathan Drake Collection, and Destiny.
You got nothing else to say about those? Or are you just going to wait till your reviews?
I'm gonna wait. I said a lot about those games in the past.
Well, I don't want to hear about Destiny, so.
Well, there's not much to say. I mean, I've posted a few gameplay videos explaining how I feel lately about that game, so there's that. And I will say this about Uncharted, is that it's kind of a cool thing to have the entire trilogy as one story and go through it that way.
Still fun games?
Sorry?
Are they still fun games?
Well, yeah, but I don't know. Personally, I knew what I was buying when I was buying the game because I played them.
Well, I know, but are they still fun to go back to? I guess that's the big thing. Because I know for me, in my brief time in playing the first Uncharted with the Nathan Drake collection,
they are.
It was kind of like, oh, it's like an old shoe. It's just so comfortable, and this is so much fun.
It is. It's still extremely fun. I still have to narrow down exactly what it was that some people have been complaining about. Like the gameplay mechanics haven't aged well. I'm paraphrasing or whatever.
I haven't seen that because to me it's no different than any other third-person shooter.
The folks that were working on the remastered versions, what is it, Blue Point game?
Blue Point.
Blue Point. So okay, they've polished that the gameplay a bit and the shooting mechanics, and the game was polished visually. Each one you could see the difference actually in terms of sharpness and stuff, and it looks better. But as for the gameplay, it still works flawlessly to me. Other than if you were bothered by not being able to get that headshot for some reason, it's still kind of there. But I still managed to make over 250 per game, like headshots. You can still do it. So, I mean, and I'm not claiming to be like the best player, so it's still pretty well optimized for all the players of all like skills. So I think it works as re-release. So if you like that kind of stuff, there's absolutely no reason why you shouldn't own such a game, especially now that you get like 3 games for retail one, or the retail price of 1, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
and it helps build up that excitement to Uncharted 4 next year.
That's actually a thing that had me where for the first time I saw like the distinction between last gen and new gen, current gen, or whatever. When I finished on Uncharted 3, I immediately like loaded up the trailer for Uncharted 4 and then watched it like on this TV, as a matter of fact, and it's a dramatic change. Like everything, the way the character is animated and modeled, the environment, the physics, the gameplay itself. I was seriously blown away. So it's clearly a leap now that we're still waiting to happen. And the kind of thing that was supposed to happen when the PlayStation was launched, that kind of thing was like, that's what we expected to get when we first got the consoles, and we didn't get it because they just weren't ready. You know, they were still developing that stuff. And what people are complaining about probably when they're talking about that it hasn't aged well, I think it has a lot to do with the Naughty Dog and well, The Last of Us was essentially the previous game that they made. Like, I think it was the pinnacle of what they can do, like in terms of that kind of third-person mechanics. So when you go back to Uncharted, it's kind of I'm not saying it's the same game because The Last of Us was more stealth-based, but it did feel more like realistic, and Nathan is just, you know, going around shooting guys and stuff. So and it's maybe because of that The Last of Us was more polished and this is not, or I'm not sure what.
I don't think that's fair, because to me, The Last of Us is much more serious.
Yes.
Uncharted's not that serious.
Exactly, and that's the point. I mean, you should just enjoy it for what it is, and it really is. I still don't know what people like compare it to. If they think that the game is not up to par, it's not like worthy of today's like shooters or something. To me, like even playing the first, like the original Uncharted was completely like, it's a legit buy to me. Even at this stage.
Well, so, I have fun with it. I can't wait to get back to it. And well, you know, haters gotta hate. Just think it's all there is to it. People got to find something to bitch about. That's just the society that we live in. I've been playing Assassin's Creed Syndicate and Halo 5, and that's all I can say.
Well, sure. I mean, I wasn't expecting you to elaborate on that anyway.
Well, I signed nice agreements.
Yes.
That's all I can say.
They duct taped your.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know, but
but they should have an Assassin's Creed Syndicate review on Thursday, so look for that.
Well, yeah, that's pretty quick. Not a long time to wait, anyway.
No, well, the game comes out Friday, and Thursday's the embargo, so that's my goal, is to get it out by embargo.
So what else? Yeah. Yeah, that's it. You haven't actually been playing anything else, right?
No, I've been working on them reviews, and in fact, as soon as we get done here and I upload the podcast, I'm going to get back to it. There are people to stab.
Obviously. Still, Yeah, that's it for me this week. I'm trying to like get all these reviews done and play all these games as much as I can, but for some reason, none of that matters the day the Star Wars trailer gets released. Obviously, because we've been talking for nearly about it for nearly an hour.
Okay, I'm looking at your background, and there's a distraction back there, so you probably need to turn that shit off so you can work on your reviews.
I think it makes for a nice decoration. You know, when your guests are there, just like it looks nice, like a picture. No, actually, it's been like mostly 2 hours tops, like in a single week, and that's just like to first I wanted I wanted to convince myself that they've put in those stupid emotes and they're going to charge people for it. And I was like, okay, but at least it's optional, doesn't affect my game. But I had to see it, and it looks stupid and pointless. But it's there, so yeah, that's it's not a distraction anymore, really. It isn't. I just put it so that there's something nice in the background. Like here, I'll put this there. You can actually still see Destiny. Yeah, that's it for me. Not
Wow, and you are now in the dark.
For some reason.
I don't know what happened. You're in the dark. So I guess that's a sign to go on ahead and wrap this up.
Yeah, it's the camera. Like.
Wow. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
So he's been put in the corner, so I guess we're going to wrap this up. Subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can catch our vidcasts every week. So far, we've been really, really good. Technical issues aside about getting this done every single week. And then we're also posting gameplay videos. I got a couple of Halo ones up there. Don't laugh at how bad I am. For that first mission, I actually got so excited I was playing. I was not paying attention to either my life bar or my shield meter. I was just going through it. So much fun.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
You could tell you were excited, like from the footage, definitely.
Yeah. So I actually was getting text messages from friends like, you know that you can do this to kill the grunts. I'm like, shut the fuck up! Don't tell me how to play. I'll die if I want to.
Yeah, shut up! I'm listening to the like awesome music and awesome voiceovers and all this other stuff that looks cool.
Right. So no videos of Assassin's Creed Syndicate. I am not allowed to post any just yet. But we do have we are going to be posting more videos. Hopefully, we're going to be doing some streams eventually. You can follow each of us on Twitter. I am at Crunchy Chocobo. Vader is at Vader, and the site is at action_trip. And of course, we ask that you read actiontrip.com every day.
Ready? That was a nice one.
Yes, thank you. All right, we're going to work on these transitions later. So with that, we will say good night, and may the Force be with you.
Indeed. Bye.